I'm taking on the challenge of transforming my life overnight through daily habits. Can I really make a difference in just one day? Did you know that research shows nearly 45% of everything we do daily is driven by habits, not conscious decisions? Think about that for a second. Almost half of your life runs on autopilot. Now imagine if you could reprogram that autopilot with habits that lead to success, growth, and happiness. Wouldn't your life look drastically different? Here's the question I ask myself today. What if I could change my life overnight, not by winning the lottery, not by a miracle, but by tiny daily habits? The kind of habits that take just 5 or 10 minutes, yet ripple out into massive transformation. We often underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. But small doesn't mean insignificant. In fact, it's the small daily habits that create the foundation for massive success stories. The kind of success you see in entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders. Most people believe change has to be big, dramatic, and instant. But the truth is, success is built in silence, through small habits repeated every single day. Habits shape your focus, your mindset, your health, your discipline, and ultimately, your destiny. Imagine if you could wake up tomorrow with one new daily habit that brings clarity, energy, and confidence. It could be something as simple as a 10-minute meditation, a morning gratitude list, or even reading just one page of a book. The effects might seem invisible at first, but give it time, and those habits will rewrite your life story. The secret is this. Small daily habits compound over time, just like interest in a bank account. One push-up today might not change your body, but 100 push-ups over 100 days will. One glass of water won't improve your health instantly, but staying hydrated daily transforms your body from the inside out. So here's my challenge. Can I really transform my life overnight just by committing to a set of powerful daily habits? Not by waiting for motivation, not by relying on luck, but by simply practicing the right routines consistently. That's what today's video is all about. I'm going to dive deep into the world of daily habits, productivity hacks, morning routines, mindset shifts, and self-discipline practices to see if these small actions can create a big difference. And I'm inviting you to take this challenge with me. Most people dream about changing their lives, but few realize that the secret doesn't lie in some massive overnight breakthrough. It lies in the habits we practice every single day. Habits are like invisible architects, slowly building the structure of our future, brick by brick, without us even noticing. If your daily habits are weak, your future will be fragile. But if your daily habits are strong, your future becomes unstoppable. When we talk about personal growth or success, people often jump straight to the big goals, making more money, getting fit, starting a business. But all of that begins with something much smaller, the routines and choices you repeat daily. Your morning routine, your mindset practices, your consistency with exercise, the way you treat your body and mind. All of these are daily habits that decide whether you stay stuck or move forward. Think about it. How you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you begin your morning rushing, scrolling endlessly on your phone, or hitting snooze 3 times, you're already behind before the day even starts. But if you start with a focused morning routine, even just 5 minutes of gratitude, journaling, or stretching, you're telling your mind, I'm in control today. That's how daily habits give you the power to shift from chaos to clarity. The truth is, most of us already have habits. We just don't realize that they're controlling us. Scrolling social media at night, skipping meals, ignoring exercise, procrastinating on important work, these are also habits. And the scary part, they compound just like positive habits do. Over time, they lead to stagnation, burnout, and frustration. What makes habits so powerful is their ability to work in the background. Once something becomes a habit, it no longer feels like a struggle. That's why highly successful people design their daily habits carefully. They understand that discipline is not about fighting temptation every day. It's about automating the right actions so success becomes effortless. There's a famous saying, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our habits." That means you could set the biggest, most ambitious goals in the world, but if your habits don't support them, you'll never reach them. On the other hand, if your habits are designed for growth, you don't even have to force success. It starts pulling you forward naturally. Daily habits are like seeds. You don't see the results immediately, but given time, they grow into something life-changing. One seed becomes a tree. One book becomes wisdom. One workout becomes strength. One healthy meal becomes energy. The more you plant, the bigger the forest of your future becomes. And here's the most exciting part. You don't need to wait years to feel the change. Even after one day of practicing intentional daily habits, you'll notice a shift in your mindset, your energy, and your sense of control. That's why I believe we can truly change our lives overnight, because the very moment you decide to practice new habits, you've already stepped into a new version of yourself. Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. We all know the value of good habits, but sticking to them is the real challenge. Everyone gets excited at the beginning, buying a new planner, setting a workout routine, making a vision board. But when the excitement fades, discipline has to take over. And that's where most people fall short. The problem isn't that people don't know what to do. The problem is that consistency feels harder than motivation. You might start meditating for 3 days, then skip one because you're tired, and before you know it, the habit disappears completely. It's the same with fitness, journaling, or waking up early. Sticking with it feels impossible when life gets busy. Another big challenge is that people set habits that are too big, too fast. For example, someone who never reads suddenly promises to read for 2 hours a day. Or someone who hasn't worked out in months decides to run 5 miles every morning. Of course, their energy burns out quickly, and the habit collapses before it even has a chance to stick. Distractions also play a massive role in breaking consistency. Our phones, notifications, endless scrolling, Netflix, it's easier than ever to get pulled away from what matters. Even when you promise yourself to spend 10 minutes journaling, you end up checking social media for just a second, and an hour disappears. These small distractions kill habits before they can even grow roots. There's also the issue of self-doubt. Many people try building habits but give up because they don't see instant results. They start working out, but after a week, there's no visible change, so they stop. They practice gratitude, but their life still feels stressful, so they assume it doesn't work. What they don't realize is that habits are like compounding interest. You don't see much in the beginning, but in time, the results are exponential. Another struggle is identity. People try to adopt habits without changing the way they see themselves. For instance, someone who sees themselves as lazy tries to wake up at 5 a.m. It feels like punishment, not empowerment. But successful people tie habits to their identity. They don't just say, "I'm running daily." They say, "I'm a runner." Once your habits match your identity, they stick. Many of us also fall into the trap of perfection. We think if we miss one day, we've failed. But that's not true. Habits are about long-term patterns, not flawless streaks. Missing a day is normal. Quitting completely is the real problem. The perfection mindset convinces people to give up entirely instead of forgiving themselves and moving forward. And finally, the biggest challenge of all. Most people don't have a strong why behind their habits. They try to wake up early just because they saw someone else doing it. They try to meditate because it's trending. But unless you connect your habit to a personal reason, your health, your dreams, your future, you'll never stick with it. The why gives fuel when motivation runs out. One of the most powerful daily habits you can adopt is starting your morning with intention. Successful people know that the first hour of the day is sacred. Something as simple as making your bed, drinking a glass of water, or journaling 3 things you're grateful for creates momentum. That momentum sets the tone for productivity, focus, and positivity throughout the day. Your morning routine doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be consistent. Exercise is another habit that transforms your body and mind. Studies show that even 10 minutes of physical activity can boost your mood, improve focus, and increase energy levels. It doesn't matter if it's push-ups, yoga, a walk, or a gym session. The act of moving daily rewires your brain to crave discipline. Fitness is not just about health. It's a daily training ground for self-control, resilience, and mental strength. Gratitude journaling is one of the simplest yet most underrated daily practices. By writing down even 3 small things you're thankful for, you rewire your brain to focus on abundance instead of lack. Research proves that gratitude reduces stress, improves relationships, and increases happiness. When you start and end your day with gratitude, life feels richer, even when nothing external has changed. Another life-changing habit is daily learning. Reading 1 page of a book, listening to a podcast, or watching an educational video might not feel like much, but over time, it compounds into knowledge and wisdom. Think of it this way. If you read just 10 minutes every day, that's over 18 hours of reading a year, enough to completely shift your mindset and skills. Daily learning ensures you're always evolving, never stagnant. Meditation and mindfulness practices also have life-altering effects. Just 5 minutes of focusing on your breath can calm your nervous system, reduce anxiety, and sharpen concentration. The world is full of noise and distractions, but mindfulness brings you back to yourself. It teaches you to respond instead of react, to find clarity in chaos, and to build emotional strength that carries into every part of your life. Another overlooked but powerful habit is proper sleep. Many people chase productivity at the cost of rest, but sleep is the foundation of everything: your mood, energy, creativity, and even willpower. Creating a consistent bedtime routine, turning off screens an hour before bed, and practicing relaxation can drastically improve your quality of life. A well-rested mind, it's sharper, more disciplined, and far more productive. Acts of kindness can also transform not just your day, but your character. Doing one kind thing daily, whether it's sending a thoughtful message, helping someone in need, or even just offering a genuine compliment, trains your mind to focus on positivity and connection. When kindness becomes a habit, you not only lift others up, but also build a sense of fulfillment that money and achievements can't buy. And perhaps one of the most important daily habits is reflection. Taking 5 minutes at night to ask yourself, what did I do well today? What can I improve tomorrow? Build self-awareness. Over time, these micro-reflections create massive personal growth. Instead of repeating the same mistakes, you evolve day by day into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. When you combine these habits, intentional mornings, movement, gratitude, learning, mindfulness, rest, kindness, and reflection, you create a system of growth that works in the background. You don't have to force success. It naturally emerges from who you become daily. These habits aren't quick fixes, they're life upgrades. And the best part? You can start them today. I remember hearing the story of a man who weighed nearly 400 pounds, was drowning in debt, and felt completely stuck in life. He didn't know where to begin. Everything seemed overwhelming. But instead of trying to fix everything at once, he decided to change one habit: walking for just 10 minutes a day. That's it. No fancy workouts, no extreme diets, just 10 minutes. At first, nothing seemed to change. But slowly, his mindset began to shift. That one habit grew into 20 minutes, then 30. Over time, the weight started coming off, his energy improved, and eventually, his entire life transformed. Today, he runs marathons and coaches others on fitness. His journey proves that it's not about huge steps, it's about starting with one small habit. There's also the story of James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. He once suffered a devastating injury in high school that nearly ended his dreams. But instead of giving up, he committed to rebuilding his life through tiny daily habits. He focused on small wins, making his bed, exercising for a few minutes, writing consistently. Over time, these habits not only restored his health, but also led him to become one of the world's most influential voices on self-improvement. His life is living proof that habits shape destiny. Even in my own journey, I've noticed the difference. There were days when I felt stuck, unmotivated, and overwhelmed. But the moment I started implementing daily habits, even something as small as writing down my goals every morning, my mindset shifted. I didn't magically succeed overnight, but my sense of control, confidence, and clarity grew immediately. That change in perspective fueled bigger actions, which led to real results. The key moment often comes when you realize you don't need to wait for motivation to strike. Habits create momentum, and momentum creates motivation. That's why starting small is so powerful. Once you see progress, even if it's tiny, you begin to believe in yourself. That belief pushes you further, and suddenly, the impossible starts to feel possible. Think of athletes like Kobe Bryant, who was famous for his insane work ethic. His success didn't come from one big game or one perfect season. It came from the daily habit of showing up earlier than everyone else, practicing longer, and pushing harder. Those small daily actions, repeated relentlessly, made him a legend. It wasn't talent alone, it was habits. The same can be seen in entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. While people see him as a genius, much of his success is rooted in relentless habits of reading, problem solving, and working on difficult challenges consistently. He didn't just wake up successful, he built success brick by brick, day by day, through the habits that shaped his thinking and actions. The most inspiring part is that habits don't just change your achievements, they change your identity. The man who went from obese to athlete didn't just lose weight, he became a different person entirely. James Clear didn't just recover from an injury, he built a legacy. Kobe Bryant wasn't just a basketball player, he became the definition of discipline. Habits don't just change what you do, they change who you are. And that's why I believe that daily habits can in fact change your life overnight. The moment you commit to even one new positive habit, you're no longer the same person. You've drawn a line in the sand. You've decided to shift your future. That decision alone is transformation. The results may take time, but the change begins instantly with that first habit. If there's one truth that echoes through all of this, it's that daily habits are the building blocks of transformation. They don't just change your schedule, they change your identity, your mindset, and your future. When you look at anyone successful, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, you'll always find the same thing behind their achievements: consistent daily routines that push them forward when motivation failed. We often make the mistake of waiting for the right time to change our lives, but the right time is never coming. The real transformation begins the moment you decide to practice one new habit. You don't need to change everything at once. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start, and that one action creates a ripple that grows bigger every single day. Think about the habits we've explored: intentional mornings, exercise, gratitude, learning, mindfulness, reflection, kindness, and rest. None of these require massive effort. None of them cost much. But together, they have the power to completely reshape your mindset, your energy, and your results. That's why they're called Keystone Habits. They open the door to bigger changes. The most powerful part of habits is that once they're set, they no longer drain your willpower. Imagine not having to force yourself to wake up early, or to exercise, or to focus. It just becomes who you are. That's the magic of habits. You stop chasing discipline because discipline starts working for you automatically. And remember this, small habits done consistently beat big habits done occasionally. Reading one page daily is more powerful than reading 50 pages once a month. Meditating for 5 minutes daily is better than doing it for an hour once in a while. The consistency is what creates transformation, not the intensity. The journey of change doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. Missing a day doesn't erase your progress. What matters is showing up again the next day. That's how you build resilience, self-trust, and long-term growth. Habits don't demand perfection from you. They demand commitment. So can daily habits change your life overnight? The answer is yes, not because you'll achieve all your dreams instantly, but because the very moment you start practicing them, you've already taken the first step toward becoming a new person. Change doesn't begin when the results appear. It begins the second you commit to a different routine. The truth is, your future self is shaped by the choices you make today. Every habit is a vote for the person you're becoming, and every small action you repeat builds your identity. You don't have to wait years to see change. You just have to start now, one habit at a time. And when you do, your life will never be the same. Now that you've seen how small daily habits can transform your life, I want to challenge you directly. Don't just watch this video and move on. Take one action today. Pick a single habit from everything we discussed and start it right now. It could be journaling your gratitude, drinking more water, exercising for 10 minutes, or simply reflecting before bed. Your transformation begins the moment you decide to take action. I want you to think about this. What habit have you been putting off that you know could change your life? Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's cutting down on distractions. Maybe it's building consistency with your health. Drop that habit in the comments right now, because writing it down is your first step to making it real. When you comment, you're not just typing words. You're making a declaration to yourself. You're saying, this is who I want to become. And there's power in that. Sometimes, declaring your habit publicly gives you the accountability you need to actually follow through. So go ahead, type it out and make that commitment. If this video gave you value, make sure to hit that like button, not just to support the channel, but as a signal to yourself that you're committed to your growth. Every like, every comment, every share spreads this message further, and together we can build a community of people dedicated to self-improvement and success. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because this journey doesn't stop here. I'm creating more videos to help you master your habits, develop unshakable discipline, and unlock the best version of yourself. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. In fact, the next video you need to watch is about building self-discipline, the one skill that turns habits into unbreakable routines. Without discipline, habits fade. With discipline, they stick for life. I'll link that video at the end of this one. So after you comment your new habit, go straight there and keep building your momentum. Remember this, habits don't just change your actions, they change your identity. Every small step you take is a vote for the person you're becoming. And when you stack enough of those votes, you no longer have to force yourself. You naturally become the kind of person who succeeds. So take the challenge with me today. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your life transform. And when you look back weeks or months from now, you'll realize the overnight change didn't come from one big decision. It came from daily habits, practiced relentlessly. That's how you change your life.